Well, welcome to Beginning Yoga. My name is Kay, and I'll be leading you in about a 25-minute practice tonight. This is all beginning yoga poses. So I'd like for you to just give yourself permission right now, before we even start the practice, that if there's something that hurts or doesn't feel right, that you'll come gently out of that pose and rejoin me on the next one. I always like to tell people before they take a class that there are over hundreds and hundreds of different poses in yoga, but all the benefits of the poses are great, but they're not beneficial for everyone, for every pose. So we pick and choose what we can do. So sitting in a simple leg cross like this may be uncomfortable for you. So if you have a rolled up blanket, you can place that underneath your hips. I'd like to discuss the props I've got with me for the practice. I've got a strap. It could be a belt if you're at home and you don't have any props like this. And always keep a water bottle, even though that we are not maybe perspiring as heavily as we would in a higher intensity class. We always need to hydrate about every 20 or 30 minutes. So have that close by as well. There's other props that you can have, like a block or a bolster or something, but we're just going with the bare minimal tonight as we practice. So what I'd like for you to do is stay in this seated position for just a few moments. And I want you to practice proper breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So if you're a musician or you sing, just think about using those diaphragmatic muscles like you did when you sang or when you played a musical instrument. But if not, you did none of those, if you place your hand on your belly and one hand on your chest, try to envision filling up your belly first before you feel the movement in your chest. And the breath is felt all the way around. So you're going to feel that breath into the rib cage on the side and even into the back. If you like to close your eyes, feel fine to do that. But if not, please just focus on one thing right now and enjoy your practice. I'll try to speak louder. Normally in a yoga class it's very quiet, but I'll try to speak loud enough that you can hear what my moves are. All right, so soften the tongue in the back of your throat and let your eye sockets relax and just feel like a veil's coming over your face. Just soften your face. Just relax the jawline, the shoulders. Let's practice a few more minutes of properly breathing, diaphragmatic breath. Inhaling and exhaling, and I'll prompt you many times during our practice to breathe. Okay, we're going to start in the resting pose. This is probably the most popular pose of the yoga practice. And I'm just going to take my blanket right here and use it as a pillow. I'm going to lay back down slowly, coming on one elbow and then the other, and then slowly laying back down. Wanting to keep my chin in a neutral position. So that means that my chin should never be higher than my forehead. So just tuck your chin down here, and we're just going to rest. Arms go to the side. And now you'll find that your diaphragmatic breathing is a lot easier as we come into what we call a resting pose. And we'll revisit this at the end of the practice. It's called Savasana. It just means resting pose. So you can keep your knees bent, especially if you have any lower back issues, or you can extend your legs all the way out. Let the toes turn out. Let the hips relax. Close your eyes if you'd like and just breathe. This is connecting with our breath, which we don't do much during the day. Probably this is the first time you've thought about breathing all day. And inhaling and exhaling. Shimmy those shoulders down the back a little bit more. Let's slide one knee up into a bent knee position. Bring the other foot up into a bent knee position. And we're going to come into a bridge pose. So for the bridge pose, you want to feel the shoulders in contact with the floor at all times. And then you're just going to slowly inhale, and as you do, inhale up and exhale. Now I have a nice long neck. I don't have to have the blanket behind my head. And I want to feel like I'm in just a plane here where my shoulders and my knees. But if that's not happening in your world tonight, in your yoga practice, just do the best you can. Using your hamstrings and your glutes, just warming up the back, and then we let them come down. So here's a modification. If that bothered you, you can lift your toes. It's especially if it bothered you in the lower back. And then you're going to lift your hips up again, and it takes it out of the low back and puts it just into your hamstrings, into the glutes, which is not a bad thing. And then bring it down. And I like to encourage you that if you do have back issues, you can quickly come down. You don't have to slowly come down. Just remember to breathe. Here we are in bridge. Now there's all kinds of ways you can make this more challenging, but tonight we're keeping it simple. This is beginning. Tightening up, and then slowly bringing it back down. So I could put a block or something in between my thighs and squeeze that, which would activate my hips, which is the driving force of lifting my hips. I will bring my toes down and relax them. And once again, take a moment to connect with the breath and let your body reconnect with the pose, okay? And all the benefits of that pose. Now we're going to bring one knee in towards the chest. If you'd like to extend the other leg all the way down, do so. These are some exercises you could do in the morning before you get up. Let's rotate that ankle around, working with keeping the ankle mobility. And then back. The number one joint to prevent a fall is not your knee, it's your ankle. And then let's do the other side. Inhale. Exhale, bring that knee in. If you need to grab behind the kneecap instead of on the shin, or if you feel like your bottom leg is lifting, go ahead and bend that bottom leg. Give yourself a little more range of motion there. Then we're going to do it a couple more times. So you decide extended leg or bent leg on the other side, and then bring that knee in. Inhaling and exhaling. Send that one back down. Bring the other knee in. And maybe rotate the ankle on this side 3 or 4 times one way and 3 or 4 times the other way. Good, and then bring it back down. Okay, now we're going to take our right leg and we're going to bring it up as straight as we can and point and flex the toe. This is where you could draw in the assistance of the belt or the strap to help you get your leg up. And I'm going to keep this left leg bent because that's going to help me bring my leg, and it's more important that I straighten this leg than how far I bring it in, okay? So you can even have it at a little bit different range of motion down here. Just stretch in the back. And while I have that lassoed around that right foot, I'm going to draw it in up here and place that ankle right on top of my left bent knee. And then I can take my strap, place it under my left thigh, and I can use my fingertips as well, and then draw it in. This is reclining pigeon pose. This is going to open up your piriformis muscle. If you've ever had trouble with sciatica, this helps on that as well. Just breathe. Look straight ahead. Want a little intensity here, you can just drift your lower body over to the left, and it gets a lot deeper into there, but not that it would restrict your breathing. So just keep breathing. Nice job. Bring it back to the middle. We're going to take the strap out from underneath, place it on the other side. Go ahead and lower that left foot back down to the mat, and we're going to take that right foot off of that left thigh. Extend your left leg all the way up, either assistance with your hand on your hamstring or your calf, or once again, we can use the strap. That's what those are for. These are just tools as we go through our practice. Maybe a point and a flex here. Yeah, try to make the most of what you're doing. One of the best yoga instructors I've ever had said, just do everything you can do while you're there. So, and she was excellent. I learned a lot from her. And then I'm going to draw that left ankle, and make sure your left ankle is cleared, so it's got to have full movement. So you might just rotate it around, make sure it has that full movement. Here's where you can use your strap again. You go under the right thigh this time, and we draw it in. Now they're all different kinds of complications that might happen, like if you've had a hip replacement and if this doesn't feel right. So the modification would just bring that knee, like the left knee, in a little bit more towards your midline instead of drawing it across. We call this the number 4 or reclining pigeon. And breathe. And once again, you can tilt it a little bit more to the right. Ooh, there it is. Wow, keep breathing. If it ever cuts off your breath, if you ever feel like you can't breathe, then you need to come out of that pose. How you feeling? Good? I hope so. Keep a smile on your face. We're going to get through this tonight, and you're going to sleep so well tonight. Let's go ahead and take the strap off, place it to the side, and bring that right heel down, and then the left heel down. Let's do some neck stretches here by just turning your head to the left and to the right real slow. Bring your chin a little bit closer to your shoulders, and then back over to the other side. Now we're going to roll to the side, and this is one of my favorites. I want you to take your knees up into what we call a 90-90. That means that your head is going to be supported either on the inside of your arm to keep your neck in a neutral position, and your knees are going to be up in about a 90 degrees. We don't want them down here. We want them up here. Okay? Then you take your top arm. This is called opening the page of the book. This is great for your opening your chest, stretching through the shoulders. I want you to just roll that arm back. Now your palm is open into the ceiling. If you feel your hips starting to roll, then that's too far. Okay, so just keep those knees in a 90. I even like to put my bottom arm right here on the top of my thigh to keep me from doing that. Then you're going to close the page of the book. And inhale. So anytime we open the chest, we inhale. And then when you exhale, you close the chest. So it's closing the range of motion here. Isn't this one wonderful? If it's not, bend the elbow. Maybe don't go back as far. Yeah, it's going to make these muscles here in the pec minor, pec major right over there, shoulders, feel so much better. Okay, now take this top arm, and we're just going to take it over the head. Now as you take it over the head, I want you to flip your palm up towards the ceiling, and we're just going to make a backward circle here. And then open that palm. Now the palm stays open all the way around the backside. As it starts to cross your hip, I want you to turn your palm down. And then slice it here, so the palm is down, and we're slicing it all the way till it gets over the ear, by your ear. So when you feel your arm coming close to your ear, flip the palm up. Once again, if it doesn't feel right, change it up. Bend your elbow. Make it feel right for you. So that's what is with yoga. It just has to feel right. It just has to feel like you're opening, not pain. All right. And now we're just going to find that strap again. And I'm going to place it on the top ankle. And I'm going to pull it behind me. And I'm going to try to pull that knee down towards the end of the mat into a nice quad stretch here. Opening the shoulder, but I can use the assistance of the band. If I don't need the band, then I can just grab the ankle and open up that shoulder. Now keep that shoulder nice and open here. And then squeeze your glutes, squeeze your rear muscles, and press forward just a little bit. Oh yeah, there's those hip flexors and quads that we're opening up. So once again, take the strap off, but we'll leave it on that back side. Okay, so I'm going to flip because I don't want to turn my back to you right now, but you're just going to roll to your back and roll to the other side. I'm going to flip down here to the other end. You can do the same if you want. Hope you've had a lovely day. Made the best. Okay, now I'm going to take those knees up into a 90-90 again, right here. Our head is relaxed either on a blanket or on the inside of our arms, so our cervical part of our neck is nice and in neutral position. Take the top arm, and without moving the hips, I'm going to reach to the back. Palm is open. Okay, go back as far as you can without pain, and then close the page of the book. For those of you who like to read, one of my daughters, she's been given the gift of quite a vocabulary, and that's because she loved to read. Still loves to read. Thick books. I, on the other hand, didn't have that passion, but somehow or another I instilled it in one of my daughters. I'm envious of people that read. Okay, so that was about 3 times. So now we're going to take the arm over the head, and as it gets past the ear, we turn that palm up, and as it comes across the hip, we turn the palm down. So I'm going to exaggerate that, kind of flip that hand down. So my palm is facing the floor until it comes up to about my ear. Now if I need to bend my elbow and take the range of motion a little bit less, that's fine. Remember to honor your bodies. Have you heard that before? Honor your bodies. Always in yoga we do. And then bring it back to the front. And this is where we can find that strap if we'd like. Place it around my ankle in the front, and then pull it to the back, and point your knee down towards the end of the mat. Squeeze your glutes, your rear. Push your hips forward a little bit. Abs are always helping you out here. Protect that lower back. And stretch those quadriceps. And breathe. All right, we're going to let it loose. We're going to come into an all-fours position, and this is where you might need your blanket on your knees, especially if you have some kind of knee issue. So you can double up your mat, or you can double up your blanket underneath you, unless you have been advised never to do this. So if you have been advised never to do this, you can come into a seated posture. Okay, so I'm going to put my hands right underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to turn the eye of my elbow, the middle of my elbow, towards the front of my mat, and I want to see all 5 fingers pointing in 5 different directions. My knees are right underneath my hips, and my toes are relaxed. I'm going to draw my navel in, and as I do, I'm going to push through the mat like I was pushing away from the floor, and draw my chin through my arms, and come into what we call cat. And then relax your spine, let your belly be drawn towards the earth, and feel like you're pushing your chest through the shoulders in the front. And then you do it again, cat and cow. Letting your head relax and drop. You have muscles holding your head up all day long, so just let them relax as you drop. Inhaling and exhaling. Oh, I can hear my back popping. It loves this. All right, so now we're in a position that we can go into child's pose. So I'm just going to walk my fingertips a little bit further, opening my knees up. And you can keep your hips up a little higher if you want, or you can draw that buttocks down to your heels. And breathe. This is child's pose. Now this is also a modification for the next pose I'm going to do. The next pose I'm going to do is downward facing dog. So if you don't want to do it, just stay here in child's pose. I'm going to come back up. My fingertips are a little in front of my shoulders. The eye of my elbow is pointing straight ahead. I'm going to flex my toes. And what you want to look like is an inverted V. Okay, so the way I do that is I first lift my knees, then I push my chest back towards my thighs. Okay, so this might be your downward facing dog. Or you can straighten out those legs. And maybe your heels will touch, maybe they won't. But if they don't, how about walking that dog? Remember, you can stay in child's pose. And just work those heels. And we're going to come down on our knees again. And we're going to bring our leg forward. It doesn't matter which one you bring, but just bring one forward. This is called the world's greatest stretch. It's another great hip flexor stretch. Work your hands up onto your thighs. Extend your spine up nice and tall and lean forward just a little bit. Always reinforce with your abdominals, keeping it nice and tight. And breathe, hip flexors. There's ways you can make this more challenging too, but we're just going to stay here and enjoy the benefits here. You can always lift your arm up, make it a little bit more intense, but watch your backs. So I'm going to bring my hands down, and I'm going to walk my buttocks back a little bit here, and try to keep this leg with the toe pointed down. I want to have a nice long spine. I want to feel like I have a dowel rod from my head all the way down to my hip, and it's nice and straight as I lower and hip hinge back. Let's come up again. Come back into that hip flexor, so the world's greatest stretch. And then back this time, toes up, heels down. Once again, if your knees are bothering you, just go ahead and rest. You can rejoin us in just a moment. And then let's put those knees back together. I'm going to switch sides so you can see what it looks like. You don't have to. All right, so here I go. Reach back. Bring that foot forward. And the other knee, as you'll notice, is not directly behind my hip. It's back a little bit further so I can get that other hip flexor. And I'm kind of distorted right now trying to show you a lot of things, but just know that my hip flexor on the other side is really opening up. And breathe. You can always add a little bit more extension here, but always reinforce with the abs. And then we're going to bring the hips back, hip hinge back, and then try to keep the toe down in front. Feel a nice shin stretch here, anterior tibialis. And breathe, and then back up again. World's greatest stretch on the other hip. If it bothers your back, keep your hands here. And this time as the hip goes back, let's bring up the toe. And I got this pose. I love to do yoga in whatever country or state I'm in. And I did this one in Sedona, Arizona. I had a class and she did this. I fell in love with the pose. So a lot of my practice is what I've learned over many years. And then back up. Good. Let's take this leg back to the back. Now, I'm going to have you go into child's pose one more time. Just relax. So those of you that didn't join us on the last couple poses, here you go. You can rejoin us now. I'm coming up. And we're going to quickly do the downward facing dog. And this time walk your feet and your hands closer together. And then come all the way up. And so hope I'm still in the video here. It's not chopping my head off. I'm going to leave my blanket over to the other side. Are you still with me? Good. All right, here we go. Now we're doing some standing postures. I always like to have an element of balance in any time I teach a class. I guess that's just my history. I used to teach matter of balance classes all the time. Very important for prevention of falls. So we're just going to do some mountain poses. And a mountain pose is just what it says. It's like the peak is your head, the snowy peak. Now, a lot of us have those snowy peaks up here. Mine are covered up. And then you just feel your spine lengthening as your arms open to the side. Feet comfortable, hip width apart. I want you to feel your big toe and your little toe. Feel the sides of your foot, feel the heel, feel your arches lifting. Chin is back in your face. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can take this mountain pose into a tree pose. So I'm just going to stand on one leg as I lift the other heel. That may be all you want to do, especially if you're having some balance issues and you're not close to a wall. But we can always modify and just put that ankle, the heel, right on the ankle of the other foot and come into our tree pose. A great balance challenge here. Some of you may be able to slide the foot up. But let me tell you what is helpful, is to be close to a wall and also to visually watch something that won't move. And feel those ankles quivering. That's good. That means that you're recruiting more muscle fibers. And then we'll come back down to the side. Good. Return to our mountain pose. This is the pose that we revisit every time we do any kind of a standing posture. And I'm opening my palms, so I'm opening my chest. Realign again, ears over your shoulders. Breathe. Maybe lift that opposite heel on the other side. Be close to a wall or a chair. Pivot the leg out to the side if you'd like. Maybe lift the toe off the floor. Just don't put your heel into the knee of the opposite leg. Now visually watch something that won't move. Even if your ankles are quibbling and wobbling, that's good. If you have to put your toe down to balance, rather do that than fall. Go ahead and place the heel down. Do some shoulder rolls. So we've done a couple of standing postures, and because of time, I won't go into too many warriors, but I will show you warrior 2. So take your feet out, a little bit wider, toes are forward. Now you're going to turn your toe at the front of your mat to about a 90 degree here. Okay? And then we're going to take that back foot, and it's going to stay just pointing straight ahead. Then extend and bend the knee on the side that your toe is pointing at a 90 degree. The hips stay in between two glass walls. If you want to add the arms float out to the side. I like to dip my elbows because I feel my shoulder blades come down the back. And this is Warrior Two. Strong, strong Warrior Two. And let's quickly move now to the Warrior Two on the other side. So turn this other leg right here that was at a 90, the toe, turn it straight ahead. Turn the toe to a 90. Hips stay in between two glass walls. Extend that knee a little bit forward. Look down and make sure you can see your big toe on the inside of your knee. It's just a way to make sure you're in alignment and your knee's not rolling forward. Keep it out. Warrior Two. Hands come to the hips. And we're going to heel toe in. Let's do our chair pose now. Hip hinge back. Kiss the wall with your rear. Hands to your heart. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come down to the floor. And we're going to end as we started. Go ahead and lay all the way down on your mat. Take your feet out to about the width of the side of your mat, arms out to the side, and slowly roll those knees. These are called windshield wipers. A little extra stretch here right at the end. And then back. Walk the feet together. Bring the arms to your side. Now you can shut your eyes if you like. Darn, I don't have a cloth to put over your eyes, but that would be perfect. Just to get a washcloth and scent it with some lavender or eucalyptus or something that you like, and put it across your eyes, and then you'll just stay here and just not even think about diaphragmatic breathing, just natural, neutral breath. Thinking about, if you must think of anything, think about one thing that you did well today. It may be in this yoga practice. It might be something that happened today. Just one thing. Dwell on that. Before I go to bed each night, I write in a book 3 things that I'm thankful for. And the other night, before I went to bed, I started to write in my book. And I thought, I'm just going to write, I'm thankful this day is over. And then I thought, no, there were too many things that happened in my day that I can be thankful for. And I found 3, and I rested so well that night. So before you go to bed, try to think of 3 things you're thankful for. Now we're coming up out of this pose. You'd normally stay here about 4 to 5 minutes. We're going to roll to our side. Take that top arm now and push up at the same time. Lengthen the top leg and come back into your seated posture that's best for you. And at the end of our practice, we usually say something like Namaste. All it is a salutation meaning everything good and honorable in me honors everything good and honorable in you. And so I give that to you tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. And God bless you.